Hello and welcome to another episode of Word Up, the podcast that's supposed to help you go from articulate shit to articulate. Hope everybody's all right. We've got a brilliant episode coming up for you with David Doherty-Jebb. He is a great friend of mine and he's also a really hilarious comedian. And he also hosts the drag brunch in the Balmoral and he hosts the cabaret in AM/PM. So if you can ever get a chance to get out to one of those to see him, definitely do. He is so good. I also have a gig coming up on next Friday. You're going to be watching this on Saturday. So on Friday the 27th, I am actually hosting comedy night in the Glen Owen Bar and Kitchen in Belfast. It's a brilliant night. I'm going to be emceeing. So if you want to come along and have a bit of crack with me, feel free to do so. Anyways, I'll not keep you too long. Here you go. Thanks for coming. Tell your ma was asking about her. Hello, Belfastards and everyone beyond. Welcome back to another episode of Word Up. We have my absolutely amazing friend, David Doherty-Jebb, here with us today.
Hi. Hiya.
Absolutely fucking love this fella. He is a dope and a half. How have you been, David?
Fab. Absolutely really good. Really, really good. Yeah, just gigging away, doing my thing. So I'm very excited to do this because this is, we spoke about this really, really briefly whenever you talk about this, and this is right up my alley. This is very much...
David has a fascination with words and he collects a wordarium.
I have a wordarium on my phone where if I find a strange word, do you know, like a weird, obsolete word that people don't use anymore, I'll just put it down in my phone.
Yes. Oh my God, I need access to your wordarium.
My wordarium. I'll make it public to people.
Yes, do. Share your notes.
But there's weird words as well. I put like other words, like I like words from other languages as well. I like weird, do you know, like things that like people will say in like Derry but won't say over here? Do you like I love things like that.
Oh, we're getting into that today, funnily enough.
That is all, that's my crack. That is I'm a linguistic geek. I love everything to do with it.
Oh my God, see? He's my people. I love him. David is a stand-up comedian as well as he hosts EMCs. He's absolutely brilliant at emceeing.
Thank you.
And he hosts the drag brunches.
Drag brunches and the supper club, cabaret supper club at AM/PM.
The cabaret do you host the cabaret supper club? I love a bit of supper club.
Me and Dick Van Dyke,
and you and your husband own a cafe, the Causeway Cafe.
Yes.
So if anybody's ever about, you should give it a wee try.
It was in the top 10 of Belfast. Belfast fries.
Yes. This man doesn't do anything by half.
It wasn't the Belfast Telegraph, so
it has to be true.
I'll leave you to make your own conclusions about that. But you know,
I know the Belfast Telegraph. I remember finding a load of them. It was almost, the guy that was meant to be delivering them probably went off and done himself in. But I was
reading the headlines, going, I can't do
it anymore. But I was in Lenadoon at the time as a kid, and I thought we could sell these, me and my friends.
What, like old. Like backdated old
No,
news?
they were for that day.
Oh, they were for that day. Oh, right.
So I thought, you know what? I could sell these and make a few pence. And I brought them around the doors and was trying to put it this way: we couldn't give it away. That's bad.
But what?
But then this is in a Republican area.
That's because I'm not a Belfast person. I never really understand the different
I don't either.
I don't. Do you like the different colours?
Yeah.
Is this a green area or an orange area? I don't really know.
Yeah.
But yes. Belfast, the Bell Tail. I remember this was in the last 10 years. We're not talking like 20, 30, 40, 60 years ago. Right. It was, the headline was something like 6 out of 10 children born out of wedlock in Northern Ireland. And it was like, and I was like, what, as many as 4 kids have married parents?
That's strange.
What's going
fucking bougie bastards.
No, I didn't understand. What kind of fucking, do you know what I mean? Who's like, do you know what I mean?
Well, here, 2 out of 4 of my kids were born out of wedlock.
But just eventually doesn't go out retroactively though? Like if your man and dad eventually gets married?
Not if one of them isn't biologically yours. But it's still his.
Fair enough.
But does that make a difference? If you're a bastard and then your mother marries somebody, are you still a bastard?
They adopt you, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's weird though, isn't it? That like, do you know what I mean? That is like a...
That's another ongoing theme because there's like things that are antiquated now that weren't actually as insulting back in the day when you were using them. Like cretin and bastard. People would have just used bastard.
In English, when we want to insult somebody, we'll call you a bastard, which sort of like draws into, like they're asking, were your mum and daddy married?
Yeah.
But in Spanish, you would be called a cabron.
Cabron.
Cabron, which has got like like, which they'll do this here, which means the horns. So they'll say, so how they're insulting you isn't about your parents, it's insulting you about, does your partner cheat on you?
Oh, yes, like you're emasculated. You're a
cuckold.
cuckold.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
See, I'm with my person right now. We totally are with our people. Yeah, that fascinates me because there are like, you know, different ways to refer to like different people. Like we think that's an insult to go bastard, and you're like, and yeah, what of it?
Do you know
what I mean?
Yeah, because like,
my 2 kids, funnily enough, whenever I was taking them,
the ones that are.
Barry is the I'm a slut.
No, I said, do you remind them? Do you like use to?
Well, we we were on. I had just recently gotten my car. Right, I passed my test after the 4th try. And
what age were you when you passed your test?
30.
I was 31.
Really? I was we're better drivers.
We are.
For it. But I got my test.
Don't look at my car.
I was bringing them both to school, and you know, Barry was looking out the window and he said, Mummy, my daddy goes a different way to school because there's a shortcut. And I went, is that right, son? You know, looking at him in the rear view mirror. And then Kai turned around and went, no, my daddy knows a shortcut. And he was going, no, my daddy knows a shortcut. And all I kept thinking was, thank fuck I got my driving test so this isn't happening in public transport.
My daddy's over there, and everybody's
See, whenever you're on a bus, it's just the one daddy. Do you know what I mean?
Let's talk about this before we get on the bus. Yeah. Well, let's just agree. You can pick whose daddy it is if you want. If you want to go method. If you want to go
Daniel Day-Lewis, you know.
Pure method. Pick a daddy and that's your daddy for that day. Yeah. And we'll swap it about.
At least you know who your daddy was. Do you know what I mean? Or is?
Do you know what I mean? Like there's lots of children out there.
I already think my kids are winning. Do you know what I mean?
I'm jealous that I do know who my daddy is. Do you know what I mean? Like I wish I didn't. Do you know what I mean? That's what at least like those kids who don't know who their daddy is, they can, you know, oh, was he like a French, like, you know, millionaire or something? Like, you know, my mum and then my mum was spurned by him and blah blah blah. But I just knew my dad was like some dickhead from Yorkshire. Yes. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I just know that. He's from
He was a wee Yorkshire pudding, was he?
He was a big Yorkshire pudding, but you know, yes, we're not a small people. My family, you know, we're not a small.
What height are you?
6'3".
Oh my god!
And then my youngest brother's 6'5", and my middle brother 6'1". So we're all, and then my middle brother, he's the straight one.
Yeah. And that's why he didn't grow as much.
Oh, but he was keeping his energy to procreate.
Yeah,
but
he was growing out the way.
His kids are like my nephew, like God love him. He'll be 10 in a few days.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Presley.
Presley? Oh, I thought you were going to say Paisley there. So
no!
That's okay. Yeah. Presley. That's nice.
Presley will be 10.
He's the king.
But he's just like, and he's brilliant, you know, but he's very, like, he's big. He's always like, you know, his daddy and his uncles, you know, he's like, we're just big people.
I love a big man. Just a big man.
But yes, my dad was a big man from Yorkshire, but do you know, like my mum and dad were people that should never gotten married. They shouldn't have been together. Yeah. Like if my mum had been paying attention, she'd been watching my dad. I think it's because my mum hadn't seen like a penis up close until she got married. But she's paying
That's
attention.
That's the Presbyterian.
That's what Church of Ireland.
Church of Ireland.
Church d'Ireland. Legally here, but no, yes. My dad, like his idea getting spruced up. Bear in mind, this was the 70s and the 80s. Right. 80s was spruced. It was like two scoots of brute. Like, 2 scoots of brute and a wipe under the foreskin. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was it. That was it. Like, do you know what I mean? They really should.
And a wee wipe under the foreskin.
Wee wipe under your foreskin. Do you know what I mean? Like, always men, lads, and other people, gender non-specific people with foreskins do always give it a wipe. We're laughing here, but if you didn't.
There's another word. Do you know what you call the stuff that gathers?
Smegma.
And every time I see like a smeg fridge.
Me too.
Yeah, I just think, bet there's cheese in there.
I don't care. Coming all off down the side, I guess, here. Like,
I once watched an episode of Embarrassing Bodies where this lad was in and he was like bragging about how
smeggy as well he was.
He was saying like, you know, it's just big. I think it's too big for the foreskin and that's why, you know, I need to have a circumcision. And the doctor was like, right, okay. But even the doctor was kind of like tongue in cheek.
What are you talking about? Your foreskin's like an old sock.
So they cut it off and they were basically like, you didn't have a big cock. You just had a fucking load of cheese underneath your smeg foreskin.
Was so old it turned into like dick cement.
Don't start this again because I'm gonna start being sick.
Doing the boke. Do you get the boke like quite easy?
I get the boke really badly. Last week's episode I was trying to describe something And
Refer you down to the episode because we'll talk about it again.
Yes, you're not. You have to go and watch last week's episode.
I have to watch the last one.
But I actually, I'm going to clip that. I bulked. Well, it didn't actually bulk, but the eyes were watering. The dry bulk was, I'm terrible. And you hurt yourself as well. When you're...
I have to say, there's very little gives me proper bulk.
Really?
Very little gives me dry sponge.
Oh my God. I never realised that anybody else had this, but I have an aversion to touching. It makes me talk like this.
It makes my mouth water.
Like the water boy, talking like the water boy. I can't touch this sponge.
I don't even watch fucking SpongeBob SquarePants. It gives me that much of a fucking bulk.
I always imagine whenever you rub this sponge,
what? No.
A bit of your finger skin comes off, isn't that?
Oh no, it's sort of like, do you ever be like doing the dishes, right? Because I don't wear rubber gloves when I'm doing the dishes. Because
really? I imagine you with a pair of marigolds.
I go in fucking Burback. I'm going straight in. Yeah. And I like that. So washing the dishes, right? And then, because then you don't know if they're clean or not. Mm-hmm. So you take them off. And then...
I also don't like the sensation of your fingers sweating inside a rubber glove and just knowing that your hands are manky, but they're in the water.
Don't let men find that out, because that'll be an excuse they'll use not wearing condoms.
Do
you know what I mean? Don't let them hear that. Don't like the way it sweats on my dick. And you're like, it's not on you long enough. Fuck off. But yeah, so washing the dishes, and then you go to get like, I need to change, and I get like clean sponge, and you touch the clean, the new dry sponge with your
dry bit, and it goes, it makes a wee
your soupy lazy hands.
Don't that's yeah. No. I do have trypophobia though, or is it trypophobia? I've never actually heard it being spoken.
Yeah.
So it's like, being an autodidact, I probably pronounce a lot of things wrong, but I am terrified of stuff with wee holes in it.
Like a crumpet.
Nicole's the exact same.
Crumpets.
Yeah.
My sister, I think the reason that she got one of those wee insect hotels for her back garden was because she never wanted me to visit her again. Honestly, there's I walked out and there was just this wee thing made up of loads of wee holes, and I just went, what the fuck is that?
Like Swiss cheese and things.
Yeah, like anything. Do you know what freaked me out?
Are you afraid of things crawling out of it?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Absolutely terrified. And just the notion that you don't know what's in there. My ma had this big display on our hearth whenever we were kids, and it had these big dried poppies in it.
That was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, you used to have a big display.
Thing on your hearth.
It was dried poppies, but have you ever seen the dried poppy and it's just all the wee holes? And it just freaked me the fuck out.
I think you've seen something with insects. See, one of these do you like one of these Dr. Pimple Popper, and they go like that there, but instead of fucking pus, it's like a centipede comes out or something. Do you know what I mean?
I actually think it comes from... I was walking through the graveyard whenever I was a wee kid, right? And I'm only realising this
It's always the start of a good story.
I know, start of a good story. That was a good old day out for us, going down to the graveyard, looking at all the dead things, I still love doing it.
And the names, the weird names that people don't use no more.
I know, and just saying oh God, that one was in 1912.
Yeah. I used to love going for a city cemetery and counting all the Masonic ones.
Yeah.
And being because I used to be secret society.
Yeah. They drink out of skulls.
And they can look them, they'll just press a button and then they'll come out and come back to life.
Just realising I was a real weirdo.
No, I'm totally the same.
Treasure hunt though.
But I was walking through the graveyard with my ma and her mate, and they were walking on ahead, and I was a wee kid. And do you know the way in the graveyard people have those wee... it's like a wee piece of metal, but it has all wee holes in it. You can poke the flowers in.
Yes.
I knew exactly what you were
going
to say.
And being a kid, I was looking in it, and I lifted it up, and there was all these beetles inside it.
Yeah.
And I just remember feeling absolutely... I'm scratching. Even ASMR. Just looking at... I remember
clear that up with
freaking out and trying to describe to my ma what I had saw, and she was like... fucking talking a load of shit. I'm trying to speak to your aunt. Would you leave me alone? Do you know what I mean?
Well, like your dead auntie though?
No.
Oh, like your auntie that was just with her?
Right.
Oh, I thought she was talking to the grave.
Here. She's...
Shut up, I'm talking to your auntie. Well, listen, and then
I'm a comedian. She's a medium.
And then... that's a joke anyway.
It's a joke in there somewhere, fuck's sake. Oh my God.
So then I said, Geraldine, shut up, I'm talking to your dead auntie.
Do you know what? She probably would have used that one as an excuse, God love her.
God love her.
But yeah, that freaks me out.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm
talking through my hole about hating holes.
There's probably a word. There is probably a word though. There's probably a word for not fear of
holes. There is trypophobia.
So it's trypophobia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so what is it the Greek word for?
Is it tripo or trico? It's
I
something.
think Trico's hair.
Yeah, so it must be to do with like the follicle, because it is anything follicle-y looking. It freaks me. Like, see, I have a pore on my face that you could serve dip out of. It's really, like a paralysed pore.
There's what I call it.
And
There's a wee
that
homeless family living in it.
Yeah, it's just going to pop out one day and go, hello.
They're in there now. Do you know what I mean? Be careful
like,
of housing executive will put it in making a house for people. Do you know
Ah,
what I mean?
that's it. I wouldn't be surprised. It's side tax. Nobody's in it at the minute. But it's covered up in fucking... Covered up in foundation.
Did you ever see that whenever you were away? This is a total. Did you ever see that? Like post no bills, and then you were like, "But my mummy gets bills all the time." I don't understand. It meant like posters.
I have one of them on my door as well. Only it
Post
literally
no
means don't fucking
Fuck
post no
off.
bills.
I don't.
Fuck away off around your
That's all on the internet now. Anyway, nothing's about coming through my door.
Yeah. Do you want
What's
to know the word of the week?
What's our word of the week?
The word of the week is ignominy.
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 Yeah, ignominy.
Ignominy.
See, I would have always said ignominy.
It's ignominy.
Ignominy. Now,
Is this a word that I always find difficult to remember?
yes.
Is it because you're ignominious?
Yeah, you can be
Ignominious?
ignominious.
Ignominious.
Yes, so it's like the first time I ever read this, I was doing a course in uni, my first course in uni, where I was learning about Durkheim, you know, the sociologist.
No.
Well, anyways, he
What did
describes...
he do?
He actually is kind of like the founding father, Emile Durkheim, of sociology, and he talks about how...
Is he Dutch?
I think so.
Sounds Dutch.
It does sound Dutch, doesn't
Emile.
it? Emile. But he talks about how some people, he thinks that one of the, people commit suicide because of ignominy. And I'll tell you what that means. So, hold on till you get my thing together. I just wanted to give you the proper definition. So,
Yes.
ignominy is public shame or disgrace. Right? So it's like whenever somebody... I'll give you some synonyms, right? The synonym road.
Synonyms.
So like dishonour, humiliation, mortification. I love the way one of the synonyms is mortification.
Mortified.
I'm ignominious.
Oh
but
my
for
god!
you.
Oh, I'm ignominious for you. I'm a
Ignominious for
word
you.
off. How many words can you use for being embarrassed? So scundered.
Wick. Mortified. Mortal.
Morto.
Scarlet. I'm scared for you.
Is that what they say?
Scarlet.
Scarlet.
I'm scared.
I'm scared. Pure redner.
Pure redner. I scundered.
Scundered. See,
But then
scundered's a good one.
scundered means something different in dairy.
Look, I have this written down. This is
Yes, this
what I
is-
was talking about. In Derry, I remember being up there. So for anybody who's listening that isn't from around here, we in Belfast use the term scundered to mean embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. My ma actually used a phrase the other day, and Curtis killed himself laughing because she said that the window cleaner wouldn't clean her back windows because there was dog shit in the garden. And she said, that's pure scunderdization, so it is, right? So we were like, right? And Curtis thought this was hilarious because obviously he's a Londoner, and he was like, oh my God. And he goes, that's pure scunderdization, so it is. But I was like, that's just something, I get that. You know what I mean? But that's scunderdization. But whenever I was living in Derry,
Oh, do you live in Derry?
I did my degree up there. Derry Aboo. I remember one day this girl saying to me, she was a Derry one, and she said, oh, I couldn't get my homework done last night, and I was pure scunnered because my boyfriend kept waking me up. And I went, why were you scunnered because of that? I was going, he kept waking you up. Why were you embarrassed? Why did you not have your makeup on or something? She was going, no, I was just scunnered. I was real pissed off, and I went, so why were you embarrassed? And she was going, no, scunnered, Bronagh. And I went, right, hold on. What does scunnered mean to you?
We're not coming from this the same point of view.
Yes, exactly. And she went, scunnered means pissed off, upset, angry. And I went, no, it doesn't. Scundered means embarrassed, but they're saying scunnered.
Because in Scotland, you'll say he's a right scunner.
Really?
He's a bit of a pain in the hole. He's a bit of a scunner.
He's a scunner? Isn't that amazing?
Because I'm saying, it's a word that I don't think I've ever seen written down. I would imagine it's written S-C-U-N-D-E-R ED.
Yes.
Skundered.
Skundered. That's what I would say.
Aye. You're
Where the
skundered.
frig is that came from?
We need to look it up and find the etymology of that.
It sounds like an Ulster Scots word to me.
Yeah, it probably is.
It sounds like an Ulster Scots
Probably
word.
is. But then there could be a derivative in Irish.
Yeah.
Because we use a lot of phrases that are like, like whenever we go smashing, that's smashing. That's Irish, it's smashing.
And galore.
Yes, galore.
Galore.
Everything like my galore.
Smithereens.
Yeah. Smidgerini. Irish for fragments.
Fragments.
Yes.
And
brogue is shoe
shoe.
in Irish.
Your trousers. But like, because we took the Irish word.
Yeah.
Trousers.
And then anglicised it.
And made it trousers. And then they took breeks.
Right.
The English word, like breeches, and made it breeks.
Oh.
So it was like a cultural. Only time between English and Irish that there was a
cultural
a sort of
exchange.
an equal cultural exchange.
I suppose there's bound to be a bit of confusion whenever your language is being beaten out of you. Do you know what I mean?
We did get our own back though with Mrs. Brown's boys. Do you know what I mean? Like the English love that now. And the
They
jokes on them.
absolutely love it.
Jokes on them.
Do you not think there's something about whenever you say feck, it's not as harsh as saying fuck?
No.
Like feck is more
It's
excusable.
not. I don't. Yeah, it doesn't. Do you mean like a word that you wouldn't use in front of? Do you like your auntie, your granny? Do you like somebody who's real good living in your house?
Mm-hmm.
You're that person you go, I would never say that word in front
Yeah.
of them. Like that's the test of whether it's a bad word or not.
Yes.
And I would say, I wouldn't be afraid of saying fuck, but I would never say fuck in front of like a mum, or anybody.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, because it fuck's real guttural, isn't it? Yeah,
It's I think it's a perfect swear word.
it really is. You know, and what is that your favourite swear word, or do you have another favourite swear word?
I'd say fuck is good.
Fuck's a good one. I like fuck as well.
Fuck, because like cunt, but cunt. I think cunt is like over kind of because I think you know. He just what he calls.
Oh no, he didn't. He's looking something up.
Oh, is there? You looking up the etymology of skundered?
I think every episode we've had a discussion about the word cunt.
The word cunt.
I think it means something to everybody. It's
Well,
special.
It's special. It doesn't annoy me because I just think that it should be more because like people don't get annoyed about the word cock.
Mm-hmm. You should take the sting out of it.
Do you mean I think there's a misogyny about the sort of hatred of the word cunt?
Yes.
Because it's sort of like obviously
Female.
anything feminine or female is like that wee bit more evil, that wee bit more sinister, that wee bit more, and you're like, no, it's not really.
It's not really. Yeah.
Really, calm down.
That is true. Tell me this.
Yes.
I'm fascinated to know. I picked that word because also
This word ignominy.
Yes.
I know we're sort of like I think it's pronounced ignominy. I think I've heard it pronounced.
I
ignominy.
have heard it pronounced ignominy, but whenever I went on to dictionary to get the
They
pronunciation
said
of
it was ignominy.
So, but maybe that's our accent where we would say ignominy
Ignominy.
and they say ignominy.
Living in ignominy.
Other people,
Living in
yeah.
ignominy.
Like, have you ever had an example where you have felt pure standardization, where you have just felt so embarrassed and like publicly shamed?
Yes, not publicly as in like per what I call like, you know,
Yeah.
Chris Rock, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you didn't get bitch
slapped up the back
by a
somebody,
cuckold, by a cabron.
by a cabron who's like, yeah. So I've never get, but this like one time I was working in a bar in Edinburgh, and this fella came just totally. Like he was totally stumbling all over the place, and he was slurring his words, and he sat down with his mates, and he was like, "Oh, I'll have 3 pints of whatever," and I was like, "Yeah, no bother," and I was like, "There's no way." So I walked over to the manager, and I said to the manager, "Listen, I don't know. I'm going to let you make the call. What do you think? Like that guy over there is asking for another round. What do you think?" So he goes over, and it kind of looked like this here. He comes back over. He goes, "We'll just get those guys around on the house because he's got cerebral palsy." So I did.
Let it be known for those listening on Spotify that when David was demonstrating, all he did was nod his head miserably, like some defeatist person.
He
Like,
was totally, and I could tell that he was raging at me because I had put him into that situation, but I was mortified. But do you ever be mortified of something that nearly happened?
yeah.
And it didn't happen, but you keep playing it in your head, and you're like,
Yes.
oh, there's Adam Burns, you know, does like, Paul Burns, pardon me, Paul Burns, you know, Ursula Burns' brother, Paul Burns, he used to do comedy sometimes,
Right.
but he had this, phrase which I loved called Charguments.
Charguments?
So there were arguments that you'd have in the shower.
Oh my gosh, I was talking the other day about how I have all my best arguments in the shower, so that is fantastic. A new word,
Paul
bidding.
Burns, if you're top watching out there, Paul, I just like to,
Can you put Charguments above bidding?
Bing, Charguments. This was credited to Paul Burns. This was,
Right.
yes, so he came up with this thing. So it's arguments you have in the shower. So obviously you have them with nobody. So it's that, do you have like those, so you're playing back this, do you mean you go,
Yes.
so I nearly said that there, but then
I should have said
if
that.
I had said that, then she'd have said that, then I'd have said
Yes.
that. And then you create this whole, and you're knackered by the time you come out of the shower because you've had a full-on argument
Oh my God,
with
yeah.
yourself. With,
Yeah.
you know,
And then you're pissed off at yourself because of the things that you should have said that you didn't say.
see, I have the opposite. I pissed off at myself because I shouldn't have said a whole lot that I did say.
If you
Do
give
you know
me
what
an
I
acid tongue. I
I should go.
can be like that. Yeah, my sister said I have a razor tongue where like whenever I would really get pissed off, I would just say the most hurtful things. This was mainly whenever I was drinking as well, you know, but like just like and do you know what and your hair was fucking ugly. Do you know what I mean?
Steady.
Yeah, I know. Nobody even likes you.
No wonder your dad left your mom because he knew.
This
you
is
were
why
there.
mom doesn't fucking love you.
This is why nobody fucking calls for you.
Yes. Nobody calls for you. Do you remember back in the day calling for your mates?
Or like if you knew you were in trouble, if you were in trouble in the house and your friend called for you and you were like up there, oh, fuck, they've called for me. They're going to know I'm in trouble now because you wouldn't have been allowed to go out because then your ma would have gone like this here. No, he's not going out because he's done X, Y, and Z. So
Did
he's
you
not
get
going out.
embarrassed that your friends knew that you were in trouble?
Yeah.
It's just like a normal thing. Like
No,
you
I
just
just
knew.
didn't want anybody to know that I'd been.
That you were a bad boy?
Or if you'd been sitting in the house and you'd done something and your ma was like, or if you've been in somebody's house and their ma starts giving off them and you're sitting like that.
There's nothing more awkward than whenever you're sitting in the house and you're like up in the room and you hear their ma downstairs going, and tell your fucking friend to get the fuck out. And you're sitting there going,
Where you hear them getting bait.
this isn't a, tell her no, she can't have dinner, alright, there's her own fucking man at make dinner. They're going,
I don't get family allowance for her as well.
tell her man to send down her fucking family allowance bacon cunts never out of here.
I used to think that it was the Family Alliance. Because of the way we say it in Lurgan.
I'd
It's
vote
your
for them.
It's your Family Alliance book. So I used to think the Family Alliance was
Political party?
was an organisation that gave money to families.
It's like the Great Council of the Families.
Yeah.
Your man comes in and is like, can I have 20
my
quid
God.
for our David?
And you're
It's
wee,
like,
and you had a wee book. She had a wee book, like a wee book. And
He's been awful bad and he doesn't want his friends to know.
Ocky's been off. Ocky's been awful. That's scundered.
It's
He's living in Ignominy.
the Alliance Grant.
He's been upstairs stewing in Ignominy.
straining on his own ignominy. Why does he need new mattresses as well? Here's an R20.
The Alliance grants you £25.
Yes.
You come and show your ring and all.
Big on.
Big wig and all.
It's voting day today. Funnily enough, you're going to
is
vote for the
voting day.
Alliance Party.
By the time this goes out, we'll have found out probably what's
We
going
will
on.
have found out which dickhead isn't going to take their seat.
Which decade doesn't go well, and what decades aren't going to take their seat, but we're not going to get into all that.
Yeah, we'll not talk about that.
We know, yous know, and if you don't know, I
am ignominious for you.
I'm ignominious for you. Get back to fucking work.
Like, absolutely scundered.
I was doing a gig recently where I was sort of saying how about all the posters, and it's like, you know, going down the thing, and just looks like, you know, SDLP, you know, like women for the SDLP always look like a substitute teacher that can't handle the class.
Bless,
Do you know what I
yes.
mean? They got the, you're not a real teacher. Fuck off.
And they're crying in the closet.
I'm just gonna get a big pile of A4 paper. And she closes the door, she doesn't come out again.
Idiots. I'm not taking this class now if I sit down.
Yeah.
And everybody, and then I was
Yeah.
like the DUP, like younger DUP counsellors look like somebody who may or may not allegedly have put a camera in a woman's toilet. Do you know
Oh
what I mean?
my
I just
God,
think that, do you know, so I said this in this gig, so after slagging off the SDLP women, she totally ignored that. She got her phone out straight away in the gig and sent an email to the promoter going, this is disgusting that he's up there slagging off the DUP. But
fuck off.
While I'm here, she said in the thing, I'm writing this in the show as we speak. Do you know what I mean? Like in the thing, but she only took the DUP bit. So
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm surprised you even went. Vote for whoever the fuck you want to. But why do you go to a comedy gig if you're going to... Some people, like, do they want to be offended?
why go to a comedy gig if you're pre-Presbyterian? Like, fun is against your religion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're not allowed to laugh.
You're not allowed to laugh. That's the whole point of the whole... Who's laughing?
The free peas. Funnily enough, I have a friend who told me that he went to a free pea wedding. And they actually, he said, it was the most depressing thing he's ever been to in his life. He is, by the way, he's from the Protestant community, but he's not a free pea, obviously. He said they paid thousands of pounds to close down the bar. So that, I mean, for that amount of money, you could have had a free bar.
A what?
But they paid thousands of pounds to the hotel to close the bar for alcohol.
Brilliant.
Because they didn't want anybody purchasing alcohol. I was like, a dry wedding? Now, don't get me wrong, I was dry at my own wedding, but imagine being like, you are not allowed to enjoy yourself under any circumstances.
Fucking Christy Moore's wedding.
Elaborate.
Is Christy Moore doesn't let you drink at his gigs?
Does he not let you drink at his gigs at all?
No, the bars are all closed.
What, in case people incite a rebellion? What the fuck?
It was 2023.
Yeah. You're like,
I took over the Odyssey.
I love it, John. Sean McDonald, ladies and gentlemen, he'll be in the Odyssey this time next year. Oh my God, I absolutely love it. Like, funnily enough, whenever it comes to like words for embarrassment, I have a story about ignominy. And you can make your own choice, Dave,
Yes.
yours as to how you want to say it.
Language is dynamic, not stick.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You know, you tell you what, tell us in the comments. Is
How
it
do you say it?
ignominy or is it ignominy?
It's probably going to be ignominy now that I've said ignominy, because I'm wrong a lot.
No, well,
But I don't accept it.
you definitely know that you're gay, because I don't know if I've ever heard a straight man say I'm wrong a lot. Yeah, whenever we were in school, I actually feel ignominy for this person to this day, because I just think, oh wow, but it's fantastic. We were about to sit a test in Spanish, and there was this girl, and she came over all sort of pale looking, and our Spanish teacher said, you know, ¿Qué tal? Are you okay? And she said, see, it was an oral exam, and he was making us all get in front of the class to like say it.
Speak out loud.
And she said, see, soy embarazada, right? And he just, his whole face blanched. We Mr. Doris, pick up ya. His whole face blanched, and he was like, sorry, lo siento.
Lo siento que
And
me ha
he
dicho.
went, sorry. And she went, embarazada. And he went, do you need to go to the nurse? And she was like, and we were all like, what the fuck? What's going on here? And it transpires that whenever you say soy embarazada in Spanish, it means not I am embarrassed. It means I am pregnant.
Pregnant.
Yes.
Estoy embarazada.
Estoy.
Estoy is for words that are...
Like about somebody else. Like
No.
they-
Estoy would be for words that like
Estoy.
change.
Yes.
So estoy embarazada. Because you're not always going to be
Right.
pregnant. Estoy
Estupenda.
estúpido. But then soy would be something that never changes.
Oh, yes.
So soy alto. Soy irlandés.
Yeah.
Things that never change.
Oh, I like that.
You've got two in
actually.
Spanish. You've got two verbs for to be. Ser, which is things that never change.
Do you know I didn't know that?
Estar
Because I
is
know
things
that I
that
will
change.
say estoy for certain things, but like estoy estupenda.
But
like,
you would
I
say,
feel amazing.
But something that always makes me laugh in Spanish is you would say está muerto.
Está muerto. I'm dead.
He's dead.
He's dead.
Está muerto. Estoy.
muerto.
Estás. Está.
There's another word for embarrassed.
Muerto.
He's
Estoy
dead.
Muerto. Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm
Oh
down.
my God.
I'm down.
Muerto.
Thank you.
So to this day, do you know whenever I was thinking about this, whenever we were doing
was
that?
she not embarrassed? Was she just embarrassed?
She was embarrassed. She wasn't pregnant. She was only like 12. So that would have been...
Que vergüenza. You would say, in Spanish, you would say, tengo vergüenza.
what does that mean?
I'm embarrassed.
Tengo vergüenza.
Tengo vergüenza. I have embarrassment.
But I just thought to myself, like, I am embarrassed for her being embarrassed about trying to say that she was embarrassed. It's like scunderdeception.
Scunderception.
Scunderception.
It goes deep. But
Second-hand embarrassment.
So many. Yes.
A
Yeah.
word
Second-hand. Have you ever felt second-hand
Well,
embarrassment?
my friend was on the phone whenever I lived in Spain. I lived in Madrid for like 3.5 years.
This is why he knows all the Spanish.
Que por eso después de 3 años y pico algo se
Oh
pega.
my goodness.
After 3.5 years. So my friend was ordering pizza over the phone. And so she wanted, onions, champiñones.
Yes.
She wanted cheese, queso. She wanted tomato, tomate. Then she wanted chicken,
Right, Polo.
pollo. There's two L's, it's like a Y sound. So pollo, but she didn't say pollo, she said boja, which is a word that sounds very like chicken, but it actually means cock. Penis cock. Poja. So
Did he come round with a wee hole in his jeans going, pizza, por favor?
I could hear the wee woman laughing on the other side of the phone. And as I got there, nobody to tell you, she does want cock on her pussy. If there's no cock comes to that door, she'll be fucking raging.
Well, technically chicken is cock.
Yeah.
In a way.
Pollo y polla.
Do you know, funnily enough, whenever you're saying that, my aunt went in Spain, she went in to ask for onions, right? And she didn't know how to say onion, so she was going, I don't know why she did it in a Spanish accent, but she was going, onions. Onions. If you hadn't nailed, she was going, onions. And the woman was just looking at her like, what the fuck do you want to know something though? This is universal, girls and boys, but girls mainly. My ma, I hope she doesn't mind me telling you this. Not that she's gonna fucking be having any choice in the matter.
Done now.
She went into the farmacia, right? She needed, like little wax strips that you can wax your moustache with.
Oh, yes.
So she went in and she obviously couldn't find them and she didn't know how to say, I need like Emac or waxing strips. So she was speaking to the lady and she was going, do you have wax strips? And the woman was going like, okay, right? And wax, and my ma just mimed whipping a wax strip off her moustache, off her top lip. She just went, and the woman, see? And she knew. I was like, yes, the Spanish women are hurry as well.
Spanish word for onion, if you need to know in the future, is cebolla.
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 See, two words sound the same. See, in Irish, you've got bringloids, which means the dream, and you've got brimloids,
Fart.
which means fart,
Yes.
right? So
Anytime anybody says that something's full to the brim, me and my mateys would just laugh our legs off because I'm like, farts.
I always go, it smells like fucking brim in here.
Yes.
What are like brimstone?
Fire and brimstone, yeah, probably could do. Because it's sulphury smell.
Sulphury smell.
So seeing our oral one of the times,
You.
we were, my mate went up and his whole thing was about what his dream job or something would be. Right? So constantly he kept mispronouncing it. Instead of saying bringloids, he was saying brimloids. We were sitting at the back pissing ourselves because he just kept saying, in my farts. I'm a Premier League footballer. And like,
in my farts. And I went, your dream stinks.
It is my fart to become a footballer in the future.
That's what he meant. That's what he meant all along. Joke's on you. That's what he meant.
He was shitting himself to become a footballer.
I'm shitting myself for that.
Oh.
God love him.
Fuck me, that's hilarious.
God love him.
Why do they have to be so similar? That's a trap.
Why do they have to be so? Why do just because another Spanish gaffe that I made? I went into so we all know what churros are.
Yes.
Churros, like the wee donut, but they're not like a donut, but
Yeah.
like a gravy ring, but
Long.
deconstructed.
Yes.
Deconstructed gravy ring.
Deconstructed gravy ring.
Gravy ring.
Let it be known.
So like a bigger one with cream in the middle would be a porra. Porra. So I went in, but I asked for a porro.
Right.
But that's a joint.
Oh.
Like a joint of marijuana. And
You're like,
so,
you need to go about 10,000 miles that way to Amsterdam.
There's my bras number. Don't be letting the manager in here know that I give you that. There you go.
That's what you'd have got over here.
But it was like a kind of a Russian guy who worked. It was like a wee it's like a chocolateria. Do you know, maybe you get like you get your hot, but it's like it's not hot chocolate. We call it hot runny chocolate.
It's actual
chocolate,
real.
and you dip your churros in it. And it's like you would go there, like that would be like the Spanish equivalent of going for like chips after the nightclub. You would go there and get these and sit and eat this.
Really?
So nice.
So imagine a Spanish person going into like a Chinese after a night out and going, spliff.
A wee spliff.
You'd probably got like, don't be telling anybody we call that number 15.
I would like a spliff. And they would like, well, some Chinese here in Belfast be like,
I know, yeah. Don't be telling anybody you got that.
so just hide that. Put that between your spring rolls and say nothing.
Why don't you eat that before you order? You'll be fucking starving. Yeah, and then come to us with your order, and you'll be getting a bit good fucking load of quids in, like.
So like, just give me loads of spring rolls.
Yeah, the many times that like I accidentally ingested marijuana, via vape. A few years ago at a friend's birthday, and I didn't realise that the vape was actually, well, it did, but I didn't realise it was that strong, right? I didn't realise that it was like...
I like the levels of culpability, kind of like sort of like get
I'm
like a bit closer
I'll start off trying to like discount myself from any illegal activity, and then I'll just own up.
I didn't
right?
know, but I did.
But if you're watching this, totes get shot. So it was a vape, and I didn't realise it was like medical grade fucking marijuana from California. It was like really good shit, and I thought, let me taste that. I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure it's bollocks.
If it's medical grade, it's just for killing
it's for like cancer patients.
Yeah.
You know who.
I was
like,
going to say arthritis, but let's go straight.
Yeah,
for the
straight for the
Let's
cancer.
go straight for the worst case scenario.
And so 1 minute I was talking away, and I was giving it all this.
Oh, you were really.
That's actually quite nice. Right? And I was going, I'll give you back in a wee minute. And he was going, but like, you know, you make one, and I was going, shut up, it's grand.
That's all right.
Right? And
I know
was
what
like,
I'm doing.
I got was lovely, thank you. Handed it back to him, and 5 minutes later, I was like, I need an ambulance, right? But I was sitting there, and I just started, you know, whenever 1 minute you're yourself, and the next minute you're like feeling all existential, and you're like, what if I died and came back to life in another universe, and I'm sitting here right now thinking that I'm sitting at Let's Go Hydro, when really I'm actually in fucking Galaxy number 2. And I surmised that like all life on Earth was just nothing but like a dewdrop on the end of a giant's eyelash. And then I started to have a panic attack, and my mate's husband was like, calm down, you're grand. So then I started laughing, right?
Yeah.
Paced myself laughing. And then I proceeded to eat her entire birthday cake. Oh my God. 3 tiers of like triple chocolate with my bare hands. And when I say bare hands, I mean like Burr the animal.
Like
Burr! Yeah, like I was just like, this is fucking lovely.
Everybody else is all standing around the place like you're looking, watching you.
Gay gasping, like,
Should we intervene?
yeah, I was just like,
This
is great.
She's not getting invited to christening.
It was, but then obviously
getting
my
that
mates were good crack, like they were all killing themselves laughing along with me, and half of them were
That's called enabling.
just
really.
a
That's
stoned,
not support.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
enabling.
But I mean, it was the nicest. I don't even like cake, and it was the nicest cake I've ever eaten. I was just like, give us a bit more. But you know, whenever you're clawing and you're going, do you want a bit? And they're saying no, and you're going, I don't fucking know why. It's the fingerprints in the cake. You're like, this is fucking lovely.
Big mitts have been going through that thing. Did you wake up the next day? Were you not wondering like why your hands were sticky and brown?
And just like all over the pillow, there was
You look
just
like something
brown.
from the Rugrats. Just like waking up with the chocolate all around
Just
your face.
lying there like, what happened?
In her living room. Do you like you looking up and the people are all looking down at you like that?
Yeah.
What happened?
Ignominified.
I don't know.
I'm feeling ignominious for myself right now.
I am.
Or did you? Or were you all right?
Do you know what? See, because they were all my close friends and we were
Yes.
having a laugh, I wasn't ignominious. I actually went, God, that was a fucking gig.
And because you're the people, do you ever be out with people, right? And you have maybe had a skinful or whatever, and you've made a bit of a dick of yourself. Like,
Yeah.
we've all been there, made a bit of a dick of yourself. Do you have and you've that friend who you can phone up and go, listen, is there anybody I need to apologise to?
Yeah.
And they're honest with you. Go, listen, maybe. Not a big deal, but maybe give such and such a wee phone just to see how they're doing today.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they're like, yes, you were a dick to them last
Yeah,
night.
you told her wearing white shoes, made her look like a prostitute.
After Labor Day. Do you know
Yes, but
What do you
see,
do?
me and my friends have this thing as well. This is probably how I was able to drink for so long. You know, where we're too supportive of one another.
Yes.
Where she'll write, like, my mate could ring me up and go, Bronagh, like, I cheated on my boyfriend, and I would go, so? Like, I mean, did you really? I mean, what is it cheating, you know, if you were out on your own and you had an argument before you went, that kind of stuff?
If nobody finds out?
Yeah, so just saying nothing, or like, I killed somebody, and you're like, without me? What the fuck? Like, what? They must have done something bad.
You didn't call me to help you?
Yeah, like, but what did they do to you? Nothing. It was complete, like, I just attacked them, and you're going, but was it really your fault, though?
Do you know, really?
You didn't do no wrong, love. Don't be beating yourself up about it. Sure, everybody was too... When the drink's in, the wetsuit.
He was wearing Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mal and shares. Isn't that what your first boyfriend wore? And, like, you were just
You were
probably
triggered.
Yes.
Yes.
That was really his own fault.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, yes. Yeah, you know, your friend, like, such and such went home crying because you said she was a tramp, but... I mean, she shouldn't be so thin-skinned.
But the thing about it is, she's not crying because you were nasty to her. She's crying because she knows the truth.
Oh my God, my aunt, I have an aunt, love her to bits, and she actually got a phone call. I was out with all my cousins one night, and there was a fella who was sort of just being a bit of an asshole to me, and I don't even remember this, but apparently I said, would you fuck off, you fat bastard, right?
Right.
And... he took it really bad.
So
right?
After being like a sexual predator, he got his feelings hurt.
I don't even know
okay.
if he was just being a bit of an asshole. And I, being a horrible drinker at the time, I just went, I wonder was you fuck off, you fat bastard, right? But I didn't know this boy, for a chub, had really thin skin, right? And my aunt, apparently his mother, who is my aunt's friend, rang the next day and said, you know, your Bronagh said that he was fat last night and he felt all bad about himself. And my aunt turned around and went, but he is fat. Which is terrible.
Yeah.
But she was like, but he is.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, see, that's why we're bastards. Too much support.
But then there's the flip
Do you know
side
what
of
I mean?
people, people that you can't invite out because they'll like go, and then you did this, and they're taking real pleasure from the fact that you're feeling ignominious about the night before. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you're sitting squirming.
Ignominious. And they'll make you feel bad.
Rather than going, oh my God, and everyone's laughing together, and they make you feel you make your friends feel a bit better.
Yeah, you go, listen, it's fine, I pissed myself. Do you know what I mean?
Fine.
Waiting on the taxi, you're all right.
I
Then
stole
people
somebody's
go,
chips. I don't really even like curry sauce.
do you know whenever you're like really drunk and somebody's eating a pizza and you walk over and all of a sudden that's your pizza too? Have you ever done that? I've done that. You go, on, gives a bit of your pizza. Don't be a fucking
box.
I don't know you from Adam. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'll put in the thing.
I did it to this American tourist before, and he was like, okay. And I was like, sure, that's what everybody does over here. We just, if you're standing at the bus stop outside Lavery's eating a pizza, everybody has to
This is
have
what we survived on the famine. Pizza.
But he was nearly not going to give me a bit of his pizza. And I was like, why are you being such a dick? You fat fuck, give me your pizza.
Right. He was being a dick to me for not giving me a bit of his pizza to a stranger.
He was like, oh, what's going on here? And I was like, just give me the fucking pizza.
30p a day, he'll give me pizza.
Yeah. I was the fat fuck, as you can tell.
Getting into people's sort of like, I
actually am ignominious for myself.
Are you?
When I think
older?
back to those.
Are you an
times.
older or a younger? Like, in your siblings, where do you fall?
I am the youngest girl.
Right.
So, but I have a brother.
Yeah.
He's the youngest boy. So, but there was a bigger gap between me and him. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
so like I was the youngest for a long time.
See, the reason I'm asking that is because I'm the oldest, and I always feel this need to share.
Yeah.
Like, if I've got stuff, I feel like everybody needs to have a bit. Whereas my youngest brother Andrew, many great qualities, but sharing isn't one of them.
Do you know what
I mean? Because he doesn't. Do you know what I mean? He'll get the bit, but he doesn't have to share.
See, so you knew instantly from that story that I was the younger sibling.
Older. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You were not an older.
That is true. I am. Do you know? I very rarely get squandered, like truly squandered, when thinking about things, because just don't believe in it. Right?
No, it's wasted.
I'm just like, whatever. I mean, we do stand up. We don't get squandered. You couldn't cut me with a big knife. That's what we say here, isn't it?
Cut me with a big knife.
Meaning I have thick skin, and you couldn't cut me with a big sharp knife because I'm not embarrassed. But I will feel embarrassed about stupid. Like, I can't watch a TV show where somebody's doing something really. I can't watch Peep Show, for example, or The Office.
Oh, like
there's one episode of The Office I can't watch, and it's the one with the Scott's tots. where he's meant he like promised all his kids he was going to send them all to university, like when they got out of school, like, and he's going to have a fund for them, and then he turns up at the school and they're all older now, and he's
my
like,
God.
no, I'm skint.
See, I can't. I have to turn things off, and that's where like Curtis will laugh at me. He goes like, you will stand on stage and make a dick out of yourself, but I can't deal with the See, if I'm watching somebody embarrassing themselves, like, have you ever been at a gig where somebody gets up and they're absolutely bombing, like they're doing really badly, and I get this thing where I rub my neck, like I
do a thing like I do this here.
My
it's
tail.
It's because I've got my invisible pearls.
Yes, and you're clutching your invisible pearls. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, I can't, and like you're looking away and all, and you can't stir.
Sometimes when people are, it's not so much when people are bombing, for you're like out there, do you know what? This just wasn't his or her night.
Yeah.
It's whenever there's somebody up. Do you ever be watching somebody up there who's doing stand up, but they're clearly not liking it?
Yes.
And they're clearly not enjoying it, and you're like, number one,
like they feel shit. They feel really. You feel their discomfort. That's
it's coming
what it
off
is.
them in waves. And like I said, they're not enjoying this. Why are you doing this?
Yes.
And then I get, why are you doing this here? The rest of us, you could have had 2 more minutes, and I could have had 2 more minutes. Get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah, I know. Wasting our fucking
we
time.
could have had a longer slot if you hadn't fucking used this up. You fucking time wasting, crack killing, non-funny bastard.
I know. And whenever, but you know what? This is going to sound absolutely terrible. But do you ever see whenever that happens and then you go on after and you fucking, like, you do really well and you're like, was I really that good, or were they just happy that I wasn't that bad?
Because I think this is what some people don't understand. It's like nobody goes to a comedy show wanting you to be shit.
Yeah.
They want you to be funny.
Yes.
So whenever people aren't funny, that's it. Whenever I think
I don't even think it's so much that people aren't funny. I think whenever people don't have the confidence in themselves, then the audience loses confidence in them, because the audience needs to know that you've got this. Like, they're like, no matter what happens, she's got this, she's in control.
They can relax.
And if they can't relax to that point, then they're on edge and they're uncomfortable. So you just need to own that shit, whether or not you're just.
And if it doesn't, something does. I always, people sometimes go, oh, if something doesn't land, like, just go past it. I'm like, oh no, say.
Yeah.
Admit, oh God, that was funny in my head. Right, let's move on.
I often find the audience loves that, because whenever people go, I'll not be using that one again, the audience is like, that was funny.
We can all agree that was a shitty joke.
Yes.
That's all right. That's okay. Yeah.
No, it's even nicer sometimes. Like, there's things that I've done on stage and I haven't expected it to, like, it was just a throwaway line.
Aye.
And people, like, really roar, and you're like, oh, is that funny? You're like a wee kid that said something funny, so you want to say it again. Do you know what I mean?
Like the 4-year-old says fuck, and then everybody's like,
and then they go, fuck, and you go,
oh,
don't you dare.
Because you're not really meant to laugh.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, whenever kids
swear, it's terrible, because the thing is, I do swear.
Do you get ignominious about your kids swearing?
No.
Do your kids swear?
Not in front of me.
No.
Right?
They've learned a very
at
important
least
lesson.
have the sense to not do it in front of me. And swearing is, and I'm sorry, I know that I'm working class and I am, articulate. I do like using words.
You went till school?
I went till school, so I did, like. And I do like, to use, I can be articulate whenever I want to, but sometimes I just want to go, no, it is. Fuck off.
If I'm talking,
there's no point.
But it's not so much that. It's just like you change your register, and it's not a judgment thing. And I don't know, because I grew up housing executive house as a dinner ticket kid. Do you know what I mean? Like I went to university. I love language. But I love language, all language. I love. We'll let tie me here, as well as talking about obsolete words.
And there's something really freeing about being with somebody who speaks in your dialect. And instead of, like, whenever I went to uni, this is going to sound really strange, but I came down and I did enunciate everything, because, and people would go, Lord, how she fucking thinks she has somebody talking like that. And you go, no, but I'm in uni with lots of people from all around the world. And if I spoke the way I speak to you, people wouldn't understand what I'm saying.
I had to repeat myself 3 times.
So I was saying and doing, you know,
Your
whenever I was
G.
in class, saying your ings, which
Saying
is
your ring. That's a very
if
Northern
you say
Irish,
your
like.
ings, right, and people think she fucking thinks she has somebody, but see, whenever you're with your mates and you can just go, here, I'm there, tell you, here, what just happened, don't mind. Go on over, tell a swilly for a swally, don't dally, I'll folly, right?
Aye.
And you can just say, oh, Sadie, matey here, I roared and I tittered and I laughed, it was a gag, matey, tell you.
But they know what you're saying.
The
See
flow
if I
is
see
there.
how we going on trail of fuck.
I'm gonna fucking trailhead
Trail
whore.
her back the fucking
Whore.
A whore.
Whore
How do you call
is
her?
a whore.
What do you call a whore?
What do you call her?
Not what is her name. What do you
Who
call a
the
whore?
fuck she thinks she is? Do you know what I
Let
mean?
me tell you a story.
What do you call your
Exactly.
name?
Maybe what do you call your name? What do you call her?
My name is called Tommy Lee.
What you do that for? Why for? Why for? Why for do you do that?
for?
I was so scared. Scared for my life.
Scared. Look, there's what I call our Jared got me that digital watch for Christmas.
Digital. I love it. But yes, if my kids were to swear, I'd be like, okay, but do you know how to say that without swearing?
Yeah.
Right? But like my youngest, not my youngest, my second youngest, he picked up on the word.
You still forgot about the very, very youngest.
The very youngest hasn't.
See,
He isn't ingrained in
See,
the
as soon as he starts
psyche yet.
talking and providing for the house, then we'll take
Once
him
he has a
seriously.
phone number,
We can take him
as well,
seriously.
like then he'll be. But he was saying,
A WhatsApp.
yes, once he has a WhatsApp or at least has an iPad that he can iMessage me from, then he'll be a citizen.
Oh my God.
You know.
You're chatting on the phone.
But yes, Coco was a baby and he picked up on the word fuck because I accidentally dropped it one day. And
Not the baby, the word.
the word. Probably have dropped him. That's perfect, yes. So I love it. But the thing is, when little children say fuck,
It's hilarious.
it's adorable,
It is.
right? And he said it, he went, oh, fuck. And I went, oh, fuck. Stop saying that. Right?
What do you do?
What do you do? So I was like, truck. And he was going, fuck, right?
I
And
might be only 18 months, but I'm not fucking stupid. I knew you'd have said
exactly.
truck.
He was only about 18 months. And he actually must be, he is very, very intelligent because then he kind of learned to not say it in
Did
front
it not
of me.
make you feel like I should have smoked more with him because then he might not be as smart?
He mightn't be
Do you
as
know what I mean?
clever.
Like, he might not be as clever.
I shouldn't have gave up drinking before I had him.
No, exactly.
But he was standing in the living room one day and he had his wee ice cream and he was licking it and he was watching the TV and it fell. His ice cream fell and he just went, fuck. And I went, ha! He used it in the right context.
What are you
know?
gonna do?
Yeah, because everything was fuck's sake. And he said fuck's sake. And I went, yes.
I love this thing.
That is the ultimate reason.
You used to do this thing in
to say fuck's
Belfast.
sake.
We used don't say fuck's sake. You go sick.
Sake, yeah. You don't even,
You don't say
you
the fuck,
don't
but just
even
go,
need.
sick.
If my kids say sake, I'm like, what did you fucking say? Because you might as well have said fuck.
But there is. I read this thing recently where
Is that just
swearing
Belfast
is
thing?
good. We wouldn't say fuck's sake. We would say
go,
fuck's sake.
Sick.
But I read this thing about swearing, right? Where swearing actually does help relieve pain. So if you stuck your hand in boiling hot water and went like this here, oh dear, oh dear,
Yeah.
it doesn't create the sort of pain-killing analgesic hormones in your
Yes.
body. Whereas if you go, fuck, that helps you deal with the pain.
Yes,
So
yeah. You try and tell the woman in labour, don't be swearing. She'll
don't
go,
be so. Could you maybe not? Oh, what about? Remember whenever what do you call Tom Cruise? Remember Tom Cruise was all this Scientology silent birth. You
Away and
fucking
fuck yourself.
You squeeze something that's a pin at the end of your willy and don't be fucking swearing.
I
Fuck off.
know. Jesus, after I had my first one, I felt like I could walk down both sides of the falls at the same time. I had to have my arse and legs sewn back on, let it be known.
This is what the English Channel felt like when that thing was going up at the
Swear
neck.
to God. Like throwing a brick up a falls, right?
Up a fall.
Swear to God.
Holy moly.
Waving a wand in a cave, right?
Were you natural for all your babies?
No, it wasn't. Do you know what the one thing you'll say about me is? Shame on you if you fooled me once, right?
I learned my lesson.
I went in the second time and I said, I'll tell you what, love, I'll not be fucking doing that again. You may take this
No.
one out the sunroof. The boot's fucked.
The boot.
The boot doesn't even close anymore, right? Take it out the fucking sunroof.
It's a DeLorean with a fucking broke doors. It doesn't open no more.
It's like a busted sofa. You're not fucking doing any more damage to down there.
A melted Wellington. You know what I mean? That's not work. This is not the way I want to live my life. I'm not living my life.
Seriously. Yeah. Women, no. I'm not doing it. And I don't care whether or not you say...
None of the famous ones do it. There's Jennifer Lopez. Like, she was back on stage within 6 weeks. You don't do that if you're coming out the fucking channel.
But you know what? People say, well, I'm hardly too posh to push. I'ma listen to the way I fucking speak.
We may as well get it on the NHS while the NHS is still...
Do you know what it is, though? I was genuinely traumatised after my first. I was really badly depressed. Believe it or not, I was practically a pensioner. I was 24.
But I still think that, I don't know, I think that that's quite young because I think back at myself at being 24.
When I met my husband in London, he referred to me as a young mum, and I was like, I'm not a fucking young mum. I was 24. I did university and everything.
Yeah.
But whereas where I'm from, like a lot of people that I know would have had their babies at 18 and 19 and stuff. And over here set up a lot better for families.
But do you not think that there's like a kind of like, what would you say, there's a payoff on either end, whereas like if you have your kids when you're 18, 19, by the time you're like 35, 40, your kids are grew up and you can still have like a life. Or if you have your kids when you're 35 or whatever, you've done all this here and you don't
you don't feel like you're missing out.
Well, there's a payoff on either side.
The only thing I would say is I think that maybe people that have them whenever they're a bit older are less depressed. I don't know whether or not, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I suffered really badly from depression.
It's a shock to the system.
I wonder whether or not I might have been as fucking shocked if I'd have been a bit older. But then again, it's a young person's game. Like, even my last child there, I was 34 whenever I gave birth to him, and the toll it takes on your body when you're older is something else.
But it's also like, do you ever see like like your friends who had their babies when they were like 18 or 19 and then they had their baby and 3 weeks later boom, back to their like a size 10.
I have to say I was like that though with my first like 2.
Your body's just ready to springs back
in again. And also the fact that I was so fucking depressed I couldn't eat after my first one that I was like skinnier than he ever was before I was pregnant.
So what age are you now?
I'm 36.
So you're 36. So that was 12 years ago you had your first. So like even then, 12 years ago is not a long time. But it's like we're getting all serious now. But 12 is not a long time. But it's a thing where I still think that there's not a lot of support for women going through, or people who have babies who are going through postnatal depression.
Now let me get my soapbox out since it's Poland Day.
Absolutely, let's do it.
To this day, there needs to be better healthcare, mental healthcare for postnatal mums, because the way that I was after having Barry, I was bordering on purple psychosis. I was so sleep deprived that I was seeing things, right? And that's not, and sorry to jump, but that's not, like you're saying, like that's not unusual. It's not.
Do you know what I mean? So like, there's just so many people who don't talk about it and so they don't know.
I needed psychiatric care.
Yeah.
My sister had to take me to her house and literally feed me, right? Because I couldn't eat. I was terrified. I was afraid that something was gonna happen to my baby, the anxiety. I was seeing a psychologist. I technically needed to be hospitalised. But I wouldn't even go near a hospital because I didn't want to be separated from my baby. I couldn't be separated from him.
You don't want to be.
And we don't have any facilities to go into where women can go in with their babies and be helped. Do you know what I mean? Like, see if this was a man problem, there would have been a facility by now.
Absolutely. We were talking about this the other day. See if men had tits, it'd be a better way of getting a mammogram than flattening it between 2 bits of fucking glass. Do you know what I mean?
Do you reckon? Well, speaking of tits and babies, even though we got a bit serious there, do you want to hear the dirty word of the week?
Dirty word, I love
dirty word of the week. Right, so drum roll, please. Do you want to have a go at saying it?
Tifloblasia.
It's, Tiflobasia.
That sounds like a drag queen, doesn't it? Tiflobasia, girl.
Tiflobasia. Do you want to know?
And she bring it to you every ball.
Oh my God, Tiff! I love it. My name is Tiff.
Tiflobasia Diamond.
Tiflobasia Diamond.
My surname is like kind of like a porn star surname.
What is your porn star surname? You know, like your first pet with your
It's supposed to be the street you were born. I'm Gizmo Laburnum.
That's a good one.
Your granny's first name and the last dessert you had.
Oh my God.
So mine is Josie Sweet.
Josie Sweet? That's lovely.
Would it be Ash Profiterole?
Mine is... Mine's a good one, actually. Mine is Belle Candy Kitten.
That sounds
I was
more
eating
like
candy kittens in the car. Is that
sounds more
classified
like
as
a drag queen, though, doesn't it? Belle Candy Kitten.
Bale candy kitten?
Which like you're doing the drag, your porn name where it's like your first pet or your first street. So mine would have been like, because
What's yours?
Crystal after post fact, because we lived in Germany whenever I was born. My dad was a Brit.
You definitely wear leather and stand on men's balls with stilettos.
Only for fucking payment. Like I'm not
For good payment.
Damn
What's
big-
yours, Sean?
Rebel Grove.
Rebel Grove! That's definitely a porn star name.
definitely
He's coming over to fix your washing machine.
Unless it's like a woman, unless it's like a Jenna Jameson, Rebel Grove.
Rebel
She's
Grove.
called like Sarah, like McIntyre in real life, but she's quick like Rebel. Well, I don't know. I'm just
It's like
saying,
a stage name.
Yeah.
it's Rebel Grove.
Sean McDonald, Rebel Grove.
Rebel Grove.
I'm here to check your pipes. Do you know what I mean?
I got some extra sausage on this pizza.
Yes! Or how does it say in Spanish?
Tengo salchicha extra en esta pizza.
Oh, I love it. Oh, sí.
Extra.
Well,
So what does this mean?
Tiflabasia, it's actually really vanilla for our dirty word of the week.
Aww.
For once.
For me?
It's the act
Are we
of...
talking that much dirtiness that we have to
I
tone
think
this
we
down?
I just thought, well, for a change, it's actually closing your eyes while kissing somebody. Right? But it made me think, why do we close our eyes? But what about the psychopaths that don't close their eyes?
Yes. What about people who are atyploblastic?
Yes! Yes!
Do you know what I mean?
They are fucking, like, my husband told me that he once kissed a girl and she kept her eyes open. And I was like, well, how did you know her eyes were open unless you opened your eyes?
Did you do that there? Maybe, or did he have that thing? Because you know, whenever you know someone's looking at you, and surely the fuck, if you say there, he would know she was looking at him. Do you know what I mean?
Hold on, come here to it. Right. So imagine
You're going to go, you do your head that way, and I'll do my head this
imagine
way.
we're going to kiss.
No, that's strange. I'm not for the obvious sort of like hetero thing.
Yeah,
hetero thing.
it's
Just because like the two of us
creepy.
are going like us.
It is
No,
weird.
you've lovely eyes, though. I have to
Creeping
say.
me out.
You know,
No,
it's, like,
David,
weird.
you can't be at that. Like,
No, but like, what's going on? Why is that? Because
apparently the reason we do close our eyes is because well, first of all, visually we can't usually see things that up close.
No.
So it's a strain on the eyes, and secondly, it's supposed to be a security
trust
thing,
thing.
a trust thing where you're making yourself vulnerable. So to close your eyes makes the person more comfortable.
do you like cats? You ever cats? If a cat blinks slowly at you, that's a cat version of a kiss.
Yeah,
Because the
'cause
most
they're
vulnerable
comfortable
thing
enough.
they can do is, because you say you're making
their
yourself
eyes.
vulnerable, and also, yes, you're not a fucking Patrick Bateman who's going to like saw you up with a hacksaw and stick you in a plastic bag. No.
Yeah.
No, you
Yeah.
have to be closing your eyes. That's nice. That's a nice thing.
It is
though.
nice, but you know, it sent me on a rabbit hole, because I was like, why do we kiss? Why do humans kiss? So if anybody was to look up my search history, it's like, why do humans kiss? Why do humans kiss with tongues? And I found this really interesting article that was saying that, like, obviously all around the world culturally, not everybody kisses with the mouth, and they think that humans enjoy it because, like, we have, obviously our lips are really sensitive. They think it might be dating back to, like, in the days cavemen, whenever women pre-masticated their children's food and fed it to them that way, like wee birds. But also, do you know that, for example, cultures that don't kiss each other tend to be like hunter-gatherers, and they're people who tend to be people who don't wear clothes. So the more clothes you wear, the more likely you are to be a kisser. And it's to do with intimacy. And the only hunter-gatherer communities that do actually kiss each other on the face are Eskimos. Because obviously they wear loads of clothes.
But isn't that where they do the nose thing?
They do the
Because
wee
with
nose.
I always thought that was because they were afraid their mouths freezing.
Yeah, so did I, because their lips were stuck
'Cause you know when
together.
you're in, like, an Arctic
But that's
thing.
it, yeah. I think because they wear clothes, it's to do with like being able. Because obviously, if you were naked, you can show intimacy in different ways, like your skin's touching.
And even just being naked is an act of
intimate.
vulnerability.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that sounds.
Isn't it lovely?
I like that.
At the same time, though, you know, I'd rather be rubbed with a relic, as my granny would have said, than kiss some people.
Do you know? And some people, like, no offense. Listen, I am very body positive, but so sometimes maybe like I'm all for everybody being naked, but if I could get a heads up, so that I could be away from. Do you know, like when you go like you see these pictures in nudist colonies?
Yeah.
It's never people who are on like Love Island, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which I love. I'm all for. It is.
But I wouldn't be doing it because I'd be
I don't
absolutely ignominious for myself.
I know I don't have the body confidence to be able to walk about
Well,
with
I mean,
swinginess.
I don't mind, but at the same time, you have the right to walk about naked in
Absolutely.
a nudist colony, but I also have the right not to be there. Would you not do the... I was talking to, Cherry on top,
Yes.
and he was telling me about being away in Spain and the nudist beaches, and there's like gay nudist beaches that you can go to and you can get it on.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be my. I am when it comes to things like that. I'm quite vanilla. Like I remember, we went to Gran Canaria, me and my friends, and we went into Gran Can would be like a real. Have you ever been to Gran Can? And did you ever go to the Jumbo Centre?
Yeah.
So it's
I always
like
thought that was the Umbro Centre.
Umbro Centre. Well, do you know it could Jumbo, but like it is like it's a. Do you know what I'm talking about, Sean?
No.
It's just a big what would you say? Like a big complex.
Yes,
all gay
it's like a
bars,
big
all-
mall full of like. I love that, but I wanted to go there more
But
because
I find that there, like the idea of like that anonymous sex in the dark. I don't really like the idea of it. I love it for other people. I'm not about
saunas and all. Like.
no, never really kind of really
a wee sauna.
a wee sauna.
See, this is it. You don't need to do it in the dark anymore. Just come out and shine your bright light.
There is like there's that sort of thing where like people still. Because it's kind of like obviously in the 40s and 50s, up into 1981 in Northern Ireland, people were still getting arrested for being gay.
I know, that's
but,
shocking.
Like, I understand the thing, and like never yuck another person's yums.
We don't kink shame.
We do not kink
We
shame.
do not kink
but
shame.
it's just not my bag.
Not
But
your
it's
big
just, and
cup of
also
tea.
like on the beach, you'd be getting fucking sand around your hole.
Yeah, all sorts.
Do you like jizz and sand? On you?
Be like
On your smegma.
exfoliant.
Well, I would like to hope that there's no smegma to begin with. I would like to think, take your walk in the sea, son, before you bring that near me. There you go.
Take
Give it a
it.
good-
That's it. On that note, folks, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Word Up, and I want to say a big, massive thank you to DJ J.
You, I love that. That's right up my street. I can't wait.
Do you have anything coming up next week or coming up that you want people to know
yes,
about?
anytime. Look at Cabaret Supper Club in Belfast. I'm there most weekends, Fridays. Go and have a look. Come and have a good. If you love drag, if you love singing, if you love a bit
I
of
can
burlesque,
vouch for that it is an absolutely
it's a really
brilliant
good
time
show.
out.
The night flies like that there, or the afternoon flies. You can come in the afternoon, you can come at night. It's a brilliant show. Do go and see it.
You can come in the
And
dark.
I think I'm going to be doing about tomorrow. I'm going to Oma Pride. So
Oh, is there an Oma Pride?
that's a good question. I'll tell you tomorrow.
Yes! We'll be checking in with Doherty-Jebb to find out if there's an Oma Pride next week. Thank you.